My
My
man,
man,
I miss you, brother.
I miss you too. How you doing?
Just see each other online these days. You're sitting in my chair, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that my reading chair?
Well, I don't think the people know that we know each other, so you might wanna mention that. Otherwise, it's gonna sound very weird.
Yeah, well, that's my reading chair. So for anyone who's watching, we are good friends.
Yes.
But I've spent quite a bit of time in your home when you weren't there, which was
I did.
something,
You
which is why
did.
it's my reading chair.
You did stay at my house when I was not here. This is true. I want to show you something quickly, that I got recently, and I haven't showed anyone, but what I got.
Oh, I love those. Yeah,
These are from
I
Air Maccabees. They sent these to me, and I don't. This is kind of crazy, but
They're
yeah,
super
this.
cool, and I had seen them somewhere, and I thought there's one problem with those. I can only really safely wear them in Israel. I'm not sure if I want to walk around the streets of London with those.
Hey
Uh,
man,
uh,
I've
um,
I've worn my I'm That Jew shirt, and
yeah,
I'm okay. But anyway, there's
yeah,
a reason that we're talking,
there is.
and we have been talking offline in a couple of groups about something, and then we were talking about it, and then we said, well, why don't we have just a conversation because it's a topic that a lot of people are talking about now, and we said, let's just do it live.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go. There's
So you
a lot of
you
strong
start.
opinions out there.
You start.
Me start. Well, the topic we've been talking about is obviously this
Obviously.
can obviously this Kanye situation. Not really about him. I'm not wanting to bring him to the forefront of any of this, actually, but really more about this kind of viral AI video with all the celebrities that are, obviously unbeknown to them. This obviously was produced and kind of just went out and exploded virally globally,
Yeah.
which has thrown up all kinds of different feelings and emotions, positive and negative.
You're gonna have to
And
tell me what the positive
well,
is.
no,
But
there's a minor element of positive in respect. There was an element of, let's call it, standing strong, standing against, let's call it community to an expect, and it's kind of galvanized a lot of emotions and people to speak up, especially about this, and not specifically about Kanye, but just in general from an anti-Semitism point of view. The methodology is obviously something that, yes, it caught viral, but then again, fraught with conflict and contradictions. Actually, in a kind of real message, but not in a real way. I don't want to take some of the things that you said away to me offline because I want you to say them, but absolutely, there are so many things in there, including people in the video that the real versions of them did speak up, and then others that have been not so public or maybe haven't
so
spoken
let's
up.
so let's let's
It's
let's
messy.
just let's
It is
just
very
I'm
messy.
I'm Israeli, so tachlis,
Toughless.
let's just get to it. The bottom line is, I don't like the video. I really don't like the video. I brought it up pretty early when it came out, when everyone was like singing its praises. And for people that don't know, I deal with branding. I have a branding agency. I've been doing branding for 25 to 30 years with a lot of household name companies and blah blah blah. So I have some experience with branding and also with Jewish advocacy, as you know, which is actually how we met. And not recently, we met like years ago. And I really don't like the video, and I don't mean creatively. Like, I think it's a good idea creatively. Let's use celebrities and with artificial intelligence to get a point across. I think that's a great starting point, but it all falls apart after that, because what is the objective here? There's two things that's going on. One is there's the use of AI, okay, which is one topic, and to use it responsibly, which did not happen. And the second thing is, and this is first and foremost for me, the Jewish people. What does it do for the Jewish people? And if you look at the video, you have people in there who were not approached. No one agreed to this. And it's not like you put up a picture and a headline. This, they look real. It looks like it's actually them. There have been so many people within our kind of like, the Jewish people who at the beginning were like, oh my God, is this real? Is this not real? And I think the Jewish people now know, but it's going to get out of our echo chamber and people will not know. And what you have is you have all these people that have not agreed, where some of them have spoken up and some of them have not spoken up, but they're all lumped in together.
Mhm.
They're all wearing these shirts, which to me, like, you know what? This is what I happen to be wearing right now. Hi. I think that's what we're about. We're about life. We're about positive. It doesn't mean that we can't say fuck off once in a while. I mean, I wrote Shalom motherfucker,
Yeah.
but it's not a campaign that's representing Jewish people. It's a one-off. This is getting people who look real, who are Jewish, to wear a fuck Kanye shirt, which does two things. It puts him in the spotlight. All of them are wearing it. All of them say the name of that guy. It's got a middle finger with our beautiful Magen David and the Hamsa. And also the end. It's like, what's the call to action here? I think that as a starting point, it could have been really good. It could have been use artificial intelligence, get a message across, get people on board, and say something that is going to have a positive effect. Not make it so that us, the Jewish people, including many of my friends who I love and advocates and who are shitting on people right now. I mean, I don't
So
like
let me
what
ask
this is doing.
let me
Yeah.
ask you a question on that, because like we said, there's so many topics
Mm,
and some of them are a bit conflicting,
mm.
because obviously you said about there's obviously ways of using AI like positively, and I'd forget the message of the actual video, right? Because that's a separate topic which we're
And
talking
it's the
about. But
most important, but it's deep. That's as a
let me
creative,
ask you but let me
that's
ask
where
you
you start. Yeah.
let me ask you just a question.
Mm.
So if that video had not been AI, so it was genuine. Someone got those group of 10, 15 celebrities together. They all filmed that and it was real. And that was the video. How would you feel about it then? Just so that we can separate between the AI bit and the
I'll
message bit.
answer. What's the idea? You got them 15 people together. What's the idea? To do the same thing?
No, because the AI topic and the
No, if you
messaging
got,
topic are two
I'm
separate things. So it
no,
could have been something else.
no. So I'm asking
Yeah.
to clarify. Are you saying what would have happened if there would have been 15 real celebrities who signed on for a video, but the same video, but just real?
Yeah,
I
that's
would take.
my question.
I would have respected it more because it's got their consent. I don't like the middle finger because I don't think that's who we are. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't think that a lot of people would have agreed to do it, because if you have that opportunity to do something big and amazing, are we really going to give one of our enemies the biggest stage with the biggest actors that we have and the biggest celebrities that we have? Are we really going to be hateful, or are we going to do something more incredible? I'll tell you what could have been a really good idea, and this is something that Justine in Australia, Karan, mentioned, and it's something that I thought of too. Is imagine how much more amazing it would have been if if it was not if it was people, AI, people who hadn't spoken up, who are not Jewish. For example, I know she said, I think Michelle Obama, she said Oprah Winfrey, and they were saying fuck you. I also think that would have been bad, but it's like, what's the message here?
I may have liked it more had it been done with the people that have spoken out against,
But she's got
like Guy Pearce and Ruffalo and Susan Sarandon. That would have been quite cool.
yeah, it could have been,
Um, um,
but even then, it's kind of a cheap shot. And even
but it
though
was a cheap shot. This wasn't produced by a major organization or banning it. I
no,
think
no,
it was
no, no,
just
no. You're wrong. This was pretty. I know that.
it was
First of all, and
it was a guy, right?
I want to make this very, very clear.
Yeah.
This is not a diss on the creatives who I think had good intentions.
Mhm.
And I'm a creator, so I know what it's like to have your work judged, and my work is being, left, right, and center being judged all the time. So I want to be very, very clear. I am in no way dissing the creators because I think they had good intentions. I actually found out afterwards that I know the guy who
Yeah.
spearheaded this, not the AI guy, but the creative
Mhm.
director. And I had words with him on LinkedIn, and I'm just like, everything that I've said to you, I put on LinkedIn, and he responded very kindly, and so do I. So this is not personal. But when it comes to the Jewish people, especially now, but you know what, forever, precious, fucking precious. You got to be careful. And this to me crossed so many lines, and I think it was unintentionally irresponsible
Yeah,
and is damaging.
I think it was a little bit like I get the feeling that it was a little bit like it got put out, probably didn't quite expect the level of virality that it could. Probably wasn't enough thought into it. But I'm interested because you're super experienced and super smart in branding and messaging and also your advocacy
Thanks,
together.
man. Thank you.
So
So are
so
you.
yeah, but I'm an amateur. You're a pro. But let me ask it this way, okay? So because I've asked you, to kind of separate the two issues. Okay, so had the message been um, not a finger, just a hand up, okay, and it said buy, as in B. I've done that before last time round with the Kanye West thing, just with the capital B apostrophe YE apostrophe, as in buy Kanye, buy, right? And it's just a hand up. So there's no finger, right? There's no name. It's just, so it's not a, fuck you. It's like a not who we are. We're just saying no, stop, enough, bye, goodbye. It's almost like a waving. And
It's not
how
that,
would
Max.
you have felt? No, no, I'm just asking, like,
Yeah.
is that the bit that, so how would you have felt about it if it was like that?
I
Because
think
there's two,
that
there's
if
two
you're going to
topics.
use, I'll tell you, if you're going to use, so if you're going to look, I've had a banner that I've said
Yeah,
fuck Kanye years ago, and
yeah.
then I brought it back when like 5 years ago. Um, but it's a banner, it's not. But when you're taking real
No, I'm
people,
separating the AI from the
no, no,
message.
no, 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 but it's related. It's related. You're taking real people who have real lives with children. Some of them have spoken, some of them have not, and they look real and they feel real, and you think they're real, and other people will think they're real. And you're putting on a t-shirt,
It took me a moment, for sure.
yeah, and you're putting on a
Yeah.
t-shirt which is provocative to the point where it might create an incitement for, you're putting words in their mouth and it makes it look like they said them. Um, so that's the AI bit, but that's the idea. So would I be happy with with them putting up their hands saying no? If it's AI, then I think that they need to be, you know, it's not like, hey, can I, like for my banners, for example, sometimes I use a little bit of AI, but I take a real picture and I make it move a little.
Yeah.
But it's a very positive thing. The messages are very, very positive. This is something that is not positive. So it
But
really
you
depends.
see how conflicting this is, right? Okay, and I'm only asking these questions as
Mm,
devil's advocate rather than any opinion. It's just to kind of provoke the conversation, right?
yeah.
So had the message been, I'm that Jew, they were wearing an I'm That Jew t-shirt, okay, which is they are. I think they're all Jewish in the video, right? So it was an I'm That Jew t-shirt. So it wasn't about Kanye. It wasn't about a finger. It was just giving the I'm That Jew message. Now, obviously, it crosses a line from rights and image rights and using people's faces. And then you do those amazing cards, by the way, that you do the honorary Jew and all the different the things that you publish, which are great. But essentially, we're using people's image. I don't know whether everyone has permission or not. I never really asked, but there are images of people saying I'm not something about them being a Jew.
I'll answer. Let me ask you a question. If I put on, and forget about
Yeah,
me and I'm that Jew. If I put something on Max Radford in AI, and this is without consent, and it was this guy on your shirt, it was something celebrating you. This guy absolutely rocks. Okay. Or if I put on a T-shirt on you that said, um, uh, you know, like the T-shirt that you had, whether you like it or not, that's not what I'm asking. It's like there's for something like that, you need to ask the person. You need to ask the person, I think, because Kanye is not just some guy. He's got a lot of followers. There's definitely a problem with the African American community and anti-Semitism, which has been there for a while, which I'm hoping can be addressed in the long run. Van Jones is doing a fantastic job trying to bring things to positivity. But if someone put a shirt on you that was positive or was controversial and might make you feel very, very
I think
uncomfortable.
regardless, I'd be uncomfortable if it was fake, and that's why I agree with everything you said about it. The fact that it was, without their consent and not pretending to be anyone, pretending to be them, I think is problematic. I think it's interesting how it's been really powerful in bringing the whole AI image rights issue to the
Look at the
forefront.
worst thing. Look at
Anyway,
the worst thing. The worst thing is what they're doing is the conversation, even in the groups that we're in, has been this. Yeah, fuck all of those celebrities who haven't spoken up. You know, there are people in your life and in my life, friends of ours who have not spoken up publicly. I don't shit on them.
no,
This
no,
is a
that's for
choice.
sure. But I don't
But
think the
wait,
intention of the video was to shit on them, right? It
no,
wasn't.
no, no, no. That's not what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Let me explain. That you have to know your audience. Did you really think that by putting in a video a Jewish person, a celebrity who has not said a single word, but you do that to him, you put the shirt on him, did you really think for a second that Jewish people, when they see that, wouldn't say, fuck this asshole? So what we're doing right now is this video has brought out the worst in us, the worst in us. And I see it, and you weren't shitting on anyone, but even you said politely, well, the least they could have done is in their statement said this or
Yeah,
that.
when
I
I,
want
when
that
they
as
came out and I think they could have been better off to have been silent about it in respect of the video and be a bit more considered. It's only Scarlett Johansson, obviously, that we've seen anything from. As I said to you in that message, I found it a bit ironic because she played the voice in the movie Her, which is obviously
yeah,
she played the. I know
right,
there's
but
a sense of irony, but
no. The
when
point is,
when the
Max, hold on.
Kanye West thing happened,
Wait,
okay, when
wait,
it came out, yeah,
Max, hold on. The point is that it's brought out the worst in us. And I don't want to skip over that. What it has done, it has brought out the worst in us. Now, from the beginning of the war, you had big influencers who were coming out, and I won't name them, who were shitting all over celebrities and known people who were not speaking up. And you know what? I was also disappointed that they were not speaking up. But the way to get people to speak up, sometimes, yes, it's to shame them. But look at who we're shaming. In that video, and people have been saying it, Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller spoke up after October 7th a few times. People didn't like what he said, but he spoke up. Steven Spielberg, look at what he's done for the Jewish people. He is acting behind the scenes. There are people who are doing things, and what I don't like is I don't like what it's doing to us. And the last thing I'll say about this specific point is we can always do better. I don't think that we should be going for things that are cool and catchy. The stakes are so high. We have to be more responsible. And again, it's not a diss on the creators because I think that they had noble intentions. But you have to really realize that the people that we're hurting the most right now is not Kanye. It's not anti-Semites. It's us. We've lowered the bar. And that to me is the biggest shame in all of this. And
I mean,
that's
I don't have.
absolutely what I feel.
As you know, I don't disagree, with what you're saying. My
But do
feelings
you
are
agree?
similar. Well, no, I agree on most of it. Is it the worst in us? I don't think it's quite at that level. I think that compared, it's not good, but it's not like the worst. It's if I had to scale it on a 1 to 10, it isn't a 10. It's just pretty shitty, and it's probably and
Okay,
also
it's not a 10, but it's pretty shitty. So why
also
would you do it?
also also consider.
Why
I'm
would you
not again.
semi agree with it?
It's not a justification of it. I'm just saying that we are, and we are faced with. enormous levels of stuff like that against us. So yes, we need to keep the moral high ground. I agree with you. We need to keep ourselves. I don't like saying whiter than white, so cleaner than clean. Okay.
Someone just
So
wrote, by the way,
I'm,
Max, someone
yeah.
just wrote here, sorry. I don't think we should put ourselves down for an AI video. Rita Ritz Richika. Thank you for the comment. I respect you. We should put ourselves down because it's not about an AI video. These are real people with kids, with families, and there's a way to bring them in. And this is not the way. Shaming people publicly, our family, like I would never do this to my brother. I would never do it to my sister. It's got to be really bad for you to do something like that. And I think that that's a really important point that Rita brought up, and I thank her for it. That it's not about the AI video. It's what is the message that we're sending? That it's okay to do all of this stuff. It's okay to put hateful shirts on people who
Well,
don't
that's
want to wear them. Yeah, all sorts of things.
But
There's
Nathan,
so many things
that
that are
is
wrong.
exactly why I asked the question about,
Mhm.
if the message was different and it wasn't a hateful one and it wasn't, a finger and it wasn't even necessarily a reference to Kanye. Let's just say there was some positive AI message that was put out, not
Maybe.
even
I mean,
related.
but
Even
that's a
though
high.
I agree with you, I don't think it should,
Come on,
I don't
come
think
on,
it's
man.
good. I don't think it's good. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate for the conversation, not because of a viewpoint. But I do have, a couple of other frustrations. One related to the Kanye situation and another one related to the celebrity
Hmm.
situation. From the Kanye point of view, and when I
Yeah,
first saw it, and I had, I did a little video myself just showing what had been said and with some kind of response to it. And I had kind of two schools of thought, but my message was different because a couple of my friends actually said to me, why giving him the airtime? Why we're making him significant. It's what he wants. I'm not sure it's been entirely successful for him doing that, actually, that we are talking about it, because, and not that I like cancel culture, but it has had an impact on some
yeah,
things. But my
sure.
real frustration was not the messages by an unhinged individual who just displayed his wife naked to the world just to become relevant only a few days
Why are we
earlier,
talking
right?
about him?
No, okay, I wasn't. Hear the end of the
Because you
sentence.
are.
But no, no, I said that that wasn't my frustration.
Oh, okay,
My
sorry.
frustration was the hundreds of thousands of people that took to social media to like and share it, right? Especially to like it and comment, like to agree with it. And I found that it, and what was my question at the time was, what is the line between freedom of speech and hate crime? Now, freedom of speech is, and it's a very difficult topic, but I would argue that someone in his position with that kind of message, it is insightful messaging. There are, and actually today, Piers Morgan did something on it, but
I know.
he only read a few of the quotes out, but he read the important ones to say this particular message is insight. Whip the Jews is an insightful message, and it was in one of his messages, right? The Jews should be slaves and they should be whipped, which is, I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
we're on the same.
yeah.
We're on the same page. I don't mean to interrupt you, but what's your point?
The point is that I said the level of frustration and the level of wanting to expose was not him, but the hundreds of thousands of people that gave it a like and a post. And that's why I asked the question, where is the line of responsibility between, freedom of speech
I
and a hate
understand.
crime? So
Um,
should his Twitter be, or X, been blocked or stopped? But what about the 200,000 people that liked it and
can I
shared it? Like, I'm just
can
saying,
I
it's
be
a
honest with
question.
you? I'll be
Yeah.
honest with you. I know we're live, but you're my mate. I'm not interested in any of that. There's one thing that I'm interested in, Max, my brother, and that is, was it the right thing for us? Not freedom of speech. Everyone's entitled to their
No, that
opinion.
wasn't about the video. That was about his post. But on the
No, no,
video,
no.
I agree.
I know, but I wanted
Yeah.
to get on this call to talk about not freedom of speech, because that's a whole thing, and I believe in freedom of speech, but we, the Jewish people, right now, need to be able to internally differentiate between what is good for us with our narrative and what is responsible and what is not good for us and what is irresponsible. And I say this again to people who are joining. This is not a diss on the creators of the videos who I believe had noble intentions. And I actually know the guy who heads the agency and I have respect for him. But I think it was damaging and irresponsible. And we need to raise our bar, and it's only by talking about it like this, which I really appreciate. And there's dialogue here,
Yeah.
and we're not getting it to. I apologize to everyone because we're in the conversation. Um, that this is, to me, this conversation is about us. What did we do wrong here? And I think that what we did wrong here was, first of all, this video was created with poor judgment, good intentions, poor judgment. Secondly, people amplified that. Thirdly, what's happening now is people are tearing our own people apart for the crime of not speaking up when, and this is an important thing, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge someone that I don't know not speaking up when I have hundreds of friends who are Israelis and Jews and who don't speak up also? I think that that is something that we all need to think about. If we want people to speak up, do the work to get them to speak up
Yeah.
in a good way and not by what I'm seeing. Fuck them. Fuck the
But
celebrities. You know, when Deborah
I,
was on your show, and I love Deborah, she talked about her disappointment and how difficult it was for her. But how empathetic, how kind to speak like that. That's the way to do it, the way that you guys did it.
yeah.
Not by saying, look at all these fucking shits that don't speak up and they this and they that.
and
I
and
think it's I
that's
think it's lowering the
that
bar, and I think it's bad for our values.
there is
Sorry.
so again, it's like these things are always kind of conflicting. So, and again, we're saying this from a point of agreement. I'm just throwing other things around it. Okay, so people in Hollywood, okay, have never been shy about voicing their opinion on most things. Okay, from anything from climate change to wherever it is that they believe in at that time. They're extremely vocal. They're vocal when they go on stage and get awards, and they're vocal when they do talks, and
Good
they're
for
really
them.
vocal.
Good for
No, no, no.
them.
I know. But I'm just saying that when it comes to this, there is an element of, there are two things. One thing, and I spoke about this exactly on that topic with Deborah when she mentioned about Spielberg and about and how much they do for the likes of, the Shoah Foundation, the Holocaust Foundation. But when it came to Israel, fairly silent, and it stirred in various things, that experiences that I've had, even with people here that are in quite prominent positions, where when it came to
Hey,
to
Rev.
to
Haley
Israel,
Ace, by the way, she just
oh,
joined.
she's
Hello, love.
great. I love Haley.
Yeah.
That there are two reasonings, and again, myself and Deborah spoke about that: greed and fear. Fear is very, very hard to overcome. That's the number one. And people are scared. People put themselves at threat, especially celebrities are in the public eye. And, unfortunately, it comes with great risk to them, personally, to their families, to the threat. And that's something that we have to be really, really respectful of.
And yeah.
But then there's the other side of that coin, which is being commercially motivated. Okay, I don't want to be ostracized or not get roles or not get jobs or whatever it may be. That's a kind of commercial motivation, which I have a little bit more difficulty with, and that also does
But
exist.
how, can
Not,
I ask you
yeah.
something? Because I agree with you. I remember working at an ad agency in New York with some Jewish people, an ad agency, where we would go down to the cafeteria and eat lunch. And it was at the time of the war in Iraq, and Bush was president. And as an Israeli and as an open Jew, I would talk about it with we sit down like 8, 9 people. And there were people who were there, who were Jewish, who didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. I didn't I didn't bully them. I didn't chastise them. I didn't put them down. It's their right to not say anything. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because they wanted to keep their jobs. So someone who's earning $100,000 a year, or someone who's earning $10 million for a movie, I'm not in their shoes. And that's why I want to go back to, it's about our values. And I know that you agree, but I think it's important that people understand this. Um, it 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 doesn't matter that they're commercially successful to me. They're still people. And it's, I'm not thinking about the celebrities right now. I'm thinking about me. I'm thinking, would I ever, um, if this was my children, say, yeah, this is a good idea. This paints you in a good light for your values? And the answer is no.
I think
Absolutely
I
not.
think
100%.
I think that and again, because I know that we're in agreement on this, um,
I'm so glad we are.
I stand in a very different place as far as the judgment of people as opposed to the judgment of organizations. And when it comes to organization, and if you permit me, I'll give you a real situation of very powerful organization and how the message gets split and actually died, and there was no message after October 7th. The first thing that went out here in the Premier League, okay, was the football clubs who have global, multi-billion people reach, had the choice of making a statement. So what happened was a couple of teams made a phenomenal
Yeah.
statement, okay, in support of Israel, in
Arsenal,
support of everything.
Spurs.
No, they were the ones who didn't.
Oh,
Okay, so the ones that did were not the ones that you'd expect. Crystal Palace was the best statement of the lot.
okay.
And actually, the more affiliated they were in respect of a Jewish fan base or Jewish geography like Spurs or ownership, and I'm very close to one of those clubs, so I know kind of firsthand what the thought process was there. Um, they have a different situation. They were in real risk because they are fearful of repercussions. Okay, making a statement, and then they did it for Ukraine and they did it for everything else. And I know from my team that I've not been able to take in an Israel flag for 4 years. It wasn't since October 7th.
Yeah.
I already knew that. I got told that by a security person there, unofficially, that they're going to stop Israel flags and Stars of David because they're
Yeah.
fearful. They don't want someone coming
I
into their
get
backstrom.
it with, I get it with,
However,
yeah.
where my issue is that there is such cowardice at the very top level of that it didn't need to be a team statement. It should have been a league statement with one statement that went to all teams that was
I couldn't
uniform. And
agree
then,
more. I couldn't agree
yeah,
more.
and we have this situation now where the inability to speak up in favor of or in support of Israel, of Jews, is so extreme that in Wembley Stadium they have a very famous arch and they light it up. So when there was Ukraine, the arch was half yellow, half blue, and when there was the thing in France, it was the French colours. And when October 7th happened, nothing. So when they was like, well, why are you not lighting this up blue and white, in support of Israel? Their response was, we are no longer lighting the arch up for anything or anyone. The, Such a level of cowardice at an organizational level that they actually refuse to put anything out. And they've changed it for every situation. They're never going to light up the arch. And I'm just showing you like the frustration that we have. And I'm probably going to finish this sentence because it ties in some of what we're talking about, is that there is always this element: if we don't stand up, if we don't speak for ourselves, no one else will.
Sure.
And that frustration does come through, I think, even in the messages we're seeing of people that are saying,
Oh, for
people of
sure.
influence, people that really have influence, really, leverage off of their influence in many, many ways. And this is one that actually, in time, if they don't, their influence will disappear as well. Because
Well,
if we let it happen, they will no longer be. They'll be cancelled out of Hollywood as well. Out
I,
of
I
very
agree with
tough.
everything that you said. I agreed with everything you said about organizations. I'm just as disappointed as you and everyone is with so many people that I want them to speak up. Um, and I do feel that that it will come back to bite them in the ass, because at the end of the day, we are a people and we're not a big people. So I agree with you. There's one comment that someone made, and this is about advertising and branding and messaging, because that's my field, and I want to bring it up. Someone, Lisa Laz, wrote a really nice comment. She wrote, "Respectfully, I disagree. The AI video prompted friends of mine who've been silent for 16 months to reach out to me finally." I want to say this: when you sit down and you create, when you're a creator, and this is very typical in Israel. In America, you'll sit down and go over and over and over the ideas. It's much more. There's a lot of money. There's much more. It's boardroom kind of. It takes a lot of time to get an idea off the ground, and then you execute. And in that time, there maybe even be some overthinking, about the idea. In Israel, it's not like that because I've worked in Israel. In Israel, it's typically, and I'm making a generalization, but typically it's like it's fast. It's like, boy, איזה רעיון, what a great idea. Yalla, let's do it. Let's make it. That's Startup Nation. The point I'm
But
making
they don't
is
war from the repercussions
no,
of
they
that to say what
do
happens
they
if
they do
not when they're that
they do
responsive.
they do a
Yeah.
little, but it's very Israeli. And
Yeah.
by the way, I'm really sorry to the people that made this. This was not good. Okay, the only thing that was good is it got press, but I don't think all press is good press. But I want to go back to her comment because she wrote, "I respectfully disagree. The AI video prompted friends of mine who've been silent for 16 months to reach out to finally me." Now imagine that when you had the idea, it evolved and evolved, and you dug deeper, and you saw all the negative ramifications and the positive, and you spent time to bulletproof the negative ramifications to the point where Lisa could say the same thing. Wow, this video, not the one that she shared, had the same effect, but with no negativity. No negativity. And
We
that's
can do that, and we do that, and I have actually
no,
done.
but that's I want to make the
Yeah.
point that that is the failure for me. The failure is that we kind of, it was a, let's do it. And not enough thinking, not enough empathy, not enough. Does this align with our values? Do we realize that when we put this out there, people are going to be shitting all over people? And good people, some of the people have spoken up. Uh, bulletproof it. That didn't happen. So
It
my
certainly
going back to
wasn't
Lisa is,
bulletproof. Yeah.
yeah, I wish Lisa, I'm glad that people reached out. But if it had been brilliant and well thought out and treated with like I said before, the Jewish people, it's precious. It has to be not perfect, but
It
really,
was
really, really.
reactionary and responsive, and that's what it was. But the one thing it did do, which listen, nothing would make me happier with your your creative nous and smartness and experience, and me being vocal in my own way. If me and you came up with a fantastic AI video that didn't expose anyone, had a great message, and would
Possible,
really do have the impact. Okay,
possible,
listen,
completely
let's
possible.
do it. But I just wanted to say that the challenge with that is what this was leveraging off was the virality, maybe even unintentionally so. So you like it has to be.
No,
It's not an easy
no,
thing
Max,
for us to.
don't be
I wish we
naive.
could.
Don't be naive. I have to say because you don't know branding. These guys, okay, the minute you're putting, and a lot of these people are people I know. The minute that you're putting these people in there, okay, you are going for virality, and you know that
That,
it's going to go viral.
that's what I'm saying. The
And
game
I
for
think that
virality is how do
was,
we get that virality with a message that doesn't leverage off of any thing and just has that great message that we want has the same impact that
I'll
Lisa
tell
Laz has
you how.
spoken about.
I'll tell you how. And I'm not the one. I don't know that I'm the one that can do it. I mean, I did. I'm that Jew 10 years ago, whatever. But like, you work harder. You think deeper. You treat it like it's the most important thing in the world because right now, the last thing that we need, and I don't care what anyone says, I will not agree with them. The last thing that we need to do is harm ourselves, send wrong messages, celebrate our enemies, publicize our enemies, send mixed messages. Well, he spoke up, but she didn't. Why are they saying in the same video? What is the call to action? What are you actually saying at the end? There. I want to actually. I wish I could just play right now what Justine in her video mentioned, but she gave a couple of ideas. Like was like, imagine what would have happened if. And that's what you do and this is what I want to come back to, Max, because we're not in the same field, but when someone comes up with an idea, and again, I'm not the authority. I'm just a creative, and I'm not better. I'm just different. But someone says, "What about this idea?" And then you poke holes in it, and you poke holes in it, and you poke holes in it. Now, you can always go back to the original idea if it was the best one, But you that's the work, and to me, that's a value. That's raising the bar of your profession. That's making sure it's good, and that's what pissed me off because I see our people saying, people that I love, just shitting on people, and I just don't like that. I don't think it's good for us.
You don't
And
have a measure. I mean, we don't forget the messaging. Like, we don't have a true measure of the positives that Lisa Laz mentioned,
mm.
and others. We don't have a measure of that to, the negative impact, positive impact. I agree. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying that we don't have a view of that on how much. I don't want to say good came out of it, but you know what? It's not celebrating our enemies. It was
Well,
it
let's
was
ask. Let me ask you, because
yeah.
that's a good question. Let me ask you, and you answer it. What good, besides the comment that Lisa made, which is like someone reached out to me, which is great. I'm glad, but it could have been much better than that. What good's come out of this? What good has come out of all of this?
I got to speak to you on the live and have a chat.
Yeah, but I would have done that anyway,
I'm
and we would
kidding.
have
I'm
been talking
kidding.
about other things.
I'm kidding. Listen, it's a great question. I think some good, or maybe quite a bit of good, came out of Kanye's post, because that exposed that hate. I'm not talking about the viral of the video. I'm just talking about that. As nasty as it was, it just brought it to the forefront of how deep rooted this anti-Semitism is and how much we need to deal with it. There's that side. As far as the video, it's very, very, very difficult to say. If I think about it, when I watched it,
Someone
I had
answered, by
my
the way.
uh,
Someone answered. Someone
yeah,
answered.
I had a really roller
Someone.
coaster of
Uh,
emotions when I watched it.
it says Tally Gillette fine jewelry. It broke through the echo chamber. I'm going to challenge her. Yes, it did break through the echo chamber, but it's showing Jews saying "fuck Kanye," which celebrates Kanye. Okay, like I can take the Robert Kraft ad with Snoop Dogg and Tom Brady, which I really didn't like for other reasons, and I can take this one, which I didn't like because I think both of them fell short. But imagine instead of breaking through the echo chamber and being 30% good and 70% bad, or 30% bad and 70% good. What if it broke through the echo chamber and it was 90% good and 10% bad? Then I'm sure that Tali would you have to think about that, and that is the responsibility of the creator, because the audience is the Jewish people, and what it did was, I think, it lowered our bar.
But this echo chamber topic is the biggest topic that we're always talking about. I'm always talking about it because the information and the narrative that I try and give in anything I say is educational to the people that are sitting in the middle that really don't know. Right, giving them tools and provoking thought, not actually like the shouty, screamy, pointing fingers kind of stuff that
At the
exists out
expense
there.
of
Sorry.
at the expense of
No, doing that because I think that we don't need to educate ourselves, right? We need, we want to try and give tools to others on our side to then share it with others that don't know. And basically, that's the vast majority of the world, right? We're only 16 million people. We struggle with our echo chamber, and spoken about it a lot. With 16 million people, Bella and Gigi did have 140 million followers on Instagram. Like, their power of amplification dwarfs ours at such a level. So I am agree. I'm a little bit agreeing with what the lady said about the breaking through the echo chamber, because it did bring some awareness, and not everyone thought. The vast majority of people, Aitan, don't think about that as deeply as you or I, and certainly not as you, in respect of it's the worst of us, and they're just seeing the message that I dare I call it mildly entertained.
right.
Okay,
But
and
this is
yeah,
exactly
it
why I
needs
said.
responsibility. I
But
agree
this
with
is,
you.
I know that you do. I'm going back as Tali wrote back. She goes, the video represents a wish that this video was true. And my question to you, Max, my question to her is, at what expense? And the expense is at the expense of other people who might be too scared to speak up, have a lot on the line. I don't know what their reasons are, but that's the price. And at the expense of allowing us to shit all over people, which to me is a value that I don't stand behind. And before people start calling me wishy washy, I'd like to think I'm pretty fierce, in the sense that I'd like to think that I'll speak up. There's a way, though, to be fierce. There's a way to be badass, and it's not by opening the door to let us mix people who have their hearts in the right place and have spoken with people who, for whatever reason, don't. By putting hateful shirts on them, by putting a hateful person on their bodies, by confusing people outside of the echo chamber and saying, are these people real or not? By not having a real message. And that's the answer to Tali, which is it represents a wish that this video was true, but it wasn't, and it was at their expense, and we can do better, and we should. And by the way, the last thing I'll say is, with the Jewish people, we're smart. We've got what it takes. Even if they have 150 million people and we've got 16, we can do better if we think, if we, and the reason, by the way, and you
Because
know
of
this
smart
about me.
messaging, and your video.
Well, let's not
I
talk
don't know.
about me. I don't
No,
want to
no,
talk
but I'm
about
just
me.
saying the video today, the messaging, and if it was it today or yesterday that you did about the solution for peace,
Mm.
okay, was brilliant because it's
Oh,
thought
thank you.
provoking. It really is thought provoking. It's like it captures everything. But I want to say,
Well,
what was
credit
the name?
credit to an author, and I put it in the caption. The guy who inspired me was a guy called Danny Cohen, and it's in the
Yeah,
caption. And I read his article, and it really
it's
inspired me.
it's
So
it's
it's not it's
it's
we
as
have to
good
give
a
credit where credit is
it's
due.
as good a message as there
Yeah,
is,
I
right?
agree.
It's as clear a message as there is. But I'm going to probably give you the nugget here of why you're right, and in an answer to, is it Tally? And this is it.
And respectful to
And
Tali, all
respectful
love,
to
all
Tally,
love,
that
all love.
this is our problem, that we could potentially face, is the backlash could be different. And let me explain. This is only going to, we're the ones with the ideas, but this doesn't stop them with their power of amplification to create a viral AI video with a whole load of other people, okay, celebrities and what, bigger with more, with anti-Israel, hateful messages, whether it's anti-Semitic or otherwise, that will go way more viral than this because they have the power of amplification. So we can't be too surprised if at some point in the next few days we see a viral video that is the opposite, with a whole load of people that are fake pretending to say stuff about Israel and about Jews, and it just goes global. So, and that for me is probably the one thing that puts the final nail in this, that you are right. And I hope we are not talking about this in a week's time, about this message that went out that crushed us, because you're right, we need to be responsible, we need to be bulletproof, we need to have clarity on our messaging, we need to be clear on who we're speaking to, and we need to make sure there's no repercussions other than positive. And nothing would make me happier for us to be able to galvanize those people who reach up to us and start standing with us.
First of all, I love you, man. Just because you're a good guy, and you're my friend, and you're my brother, and again, people who are just joining, Max and I know each other. We've known each other for years, and we're brothers. Um, the reason that you gave about what are the enemies of the Jewish people would do are true, but I'm not pushing back. I want to make sure that that people leave, anyone who's listening and who's interested, leave with what's the most important thing for me. And I don't want to get emotional because I can get emotional. At the end of the day, it's not about our enemies and it's not about anyone else. It's about us. It's about who we are and what we do. And what I say to my children, and I'm not, I'm just saying, will you respect yourself? Can you do better? And to me, it's about doing better, always trying to do better. It's about us. And what I'm trying to do with, as you know, with I'm That Jew is, sure, I might make the occasional video and I might, because I get angry too, but the but but the base, the foundation is
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 honest.
is is us. It's about this. It's about chai. It's about life. It's about positivity. It's about work. It's about, look at the people in yeshiva, and I'm not religious, what they do, and they argue, they fight for the truth, they fight for it every day for 9 hours, and they go at 5:30 in the morning, and they're wrestling and they're fighting. And I'm not religious, but it's that which I
Stands
want.
us apart.
I think so, and not that other people don't, but I think that's at the core of who we are, and that's our values. And this was just an easy gimmick
It was a cheap.
at a
It was a
time
cheap. It was a cheap shot.
at a time of crisis, and at a time where, my God, do not alienate these people. You want to get them on board. You want them to speak up. Do the work. Do the work. Find the way. But this isn't the way. And I don't know that that was their intention, but my God, it wouldn't have made it past my. I would have been like, all right, that's the start of an idea. Let's make it bulletproof. And by the way, I don't know that I would have been able to do it. Probably not, because who am I, you know? But
Mm.
anyway,
Yeah, I think. Listen, it's been a great topic of debate because it's so spoken about, it's so shared, it's so. I've never seen anything quite so viral. So,
let's give a
you
shout
know,
out, Max. Let's give a shout out to some people, by the way, without dissing anyone. Let's give a shout out to some people. Let's give a shout out to the creators who probably had noble intentions. I'm sure they did, and hopefully it'll be better the next time. Let's give a shout out to Deborah Messing, who is a known figure, star of Will and Grace. My God, look at what she's doing. Let's give a shout out to Scooter Braun. Let's give a shout out to Michael Rappaport. Let's give a shout out to um,
to Schwimmer,
David Schwimmer. Amazing.
Seinfeld, Jerry Seinfeld. He went and spoke and did stuff, you know, for sure.
Yeah. And
You know,
God, who else? Who else is there? Ben, you know, people shit on Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller spoke
yeah,
up a few
yeah.
times. Let's give it up for him. Jesse Seinfeld, who, you know, Seinfeld's wife, who's spoken up. Like, there are so many people. Look to them, and 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 people need to, you know, use positivity somehow. I don't know what the solution is, but that people doing wonderful things. People like you know, doing amazing things, inspiring, talking. People are stepping up. Let's not discourage people from stepping up. Let's get them on board the
Yeah,
right way.
yeah.
And I don't mean to sound
I'd like
wishy-washy
to think
and all
that it
kumbaya. I
hasn't.
just think it's the way.
I'd like to think that it.
Gal Gadot,
Yeah,
Ben Savage,
Amy
Sacha Baron
Schumer. I
Cohen,
can see the
Amy
names.
Schumer.
I'd
Um,
I'd like to think that this particular thing or this particular video didn't do anything to discourage any of these people to do what they're doing. You're right. That, I mean, you know, and you know, Deborah Messing, you mentioned, is a phenomenon because she was doing this
it's amazing.
way before.
Yeah.
She's been doing this for years, and not just for Jews, but for other minorities.
Yes.
You know, other groups. So, and they go above and beyond, and they take great risk both for their, you know, for their safety and their commerciality. I mean, it's really crazy what they're having to deal with. But you know, no voice has a no group has a bigger, more powerful voice than Hollywood. And you know, it really needs to be. We need to shake that can. You know, we cannot have a situation where we have an awards like an awards night like there just was, where you can't wear a yellow ribbon for the hostages, yet Guy Pearce can put the red hand of blood and lynching of Jews on his lapel and it's fine. Like, this can't happen. The double standard can't happen. And that's really, really damning, I think. And shaking the can in Hollywood, maybe not in this way, is something that we really need to do. You know,
I agree. And as you're talking, I because I want to, because I agree with you. I want to. Who else is there? There's Gwyneth Paltrow. There's, who's the guy, the English actor, Jason Isaac.
yeah.
Jason Isaac, remember from Harry Potter? He wore
Mhm.
the yellow ribbon at the award show. Um, there are, yeah. Just let's step up, people. Keep it positive. Keep fighting. Be fierce. Be unapologetic. Once in a while, you wanna choose someone out. Go for it. But
Maybe that's
for something like,
maybe that's the video. Okay, collating all the clips of where these people have spoken out into something really powerful as a messaging, hopefully with their approval. That's the
I don't think.
video.
By the way, I don't know that it needs to be with people's approval if it's positive. You know,
No, and if they
if
said it
it's
and it's in the public
yeah.
domain, then they know it's
Yeah.
in the public
Oh,
domain.
and someone just said,
But
"Hey, here's Stephen Fry, Jennifer Jason Lee, who's amazing,
I
Maureen
just went
Lupman,
to an event
Jennifer
with
Goodwin."
for the Anne Frank Trust the week before last,
Yeah. You
with Stephen
spoke at it,
Fry.
didn't you?
I didn't speak at
Okay.
it. No, that was with Stephen Fry and with the Queen. So I got bumped. No, I wasn't on the
The
list.
king.
But yeah, but the Queen was there, or Queen Consort, and Stephen Fry, who was just phenomenal. But like you're right, you know, we need to try and amplify those voices outside of the echo chamber. That's really our challenge. Our challenge is, you know, I had this conversation when we was talking with actually with Deborah Messing on this. There's like 100% of the population of the world. You've got like less than 1% or 0.5% that's us, that are willing to speak up. You've got a couple of other percent that are maybe a bit vocal and supports us. Then you've got 30-40% that they're untouchable on the other extreme in some parts of the world, and our cousins, as I like to call them. But then you've got so many people sitting in the middle that, you know, inherently they're good people. They're not necessarily that educated. They don't think it's that important to them. This is the same as the Second World War in that, you know, they didn't come to save the Jews. They only kind of, you know, the Allies got together against it when it knocked on their own doorstep. And these people are starting to wake up,
Yeah, and
for sure.
and there's something that I want to say before we go. And as we're talking, I'm thinking Emmanuel Shriki and Mayim Bialik, and I'm thinking of all these people, you know, Patricia Heaton, who's not Jewish, and Jamie Lee Curtis and Josh Gad. Sorry, people are writing. Lizzie, okay, Jason Alexander and
You're much better at reading
Pink,
people's comments than I
Pink,
am. You're a pro.
Jennifer Goodman,
Pink's
Maureen
been
Lipman.
amazing. Yeah.
Oh, so there are a lot of people, and when you post this, people don't see the
Yeah.
comments, but there's a lot of people doing good things. But I want to say one thing which is really important for people to understand, because you said it very well. There's so few of us. Now, I'll try and do a little branding simplicity. If you want to succeed, you need to speak to your base. Why? Because the more you speak to your base, the easier it is to grow, right? As opposed to speaking who are not in your base. It's really harder to grow them. So what does Trump do so masterfully? And I'm not talking about whether we like Trump or not. He speaks to his base. What does Bibi do? He speaks to his base. What did Apple do when they started out? They spoke to their base. What did Pride, you know, when it was just starting, what did they do? They spoke to their base. What did Black Lives Matter, which is an awful organization, but at the beginning they spoke to their base. The reason why I'm saying that, Max, is because when you speak to your base and you grow your base with narrative, it grows and it grows and it grows and it gets more powerful. And then people are more vocal about the brand. And then people take action with the brand. That's branding 101. The Jewish people,
Narrative is so
so the
critical.
Jewish people
Yeah.
have never invested, and I've said this many times, and this is my agenda, and this is what I'm trying to do with I'm That Jew. You invest in your base, you speak to your people, you grow the voices, you grow the people that so many people are dissing
For
right
the
now.
and aim
It
for the
takes
ripple
time.
effect.
Yes, but it takes time. It doesn't happen now. What happens? It'll happen in 3 years. It'll happen in 2 years because we'll get through this. You grow the base, you get strength, you unify, and a narrative is the base of that. And once you have that, and what you said is true, it's so powerful, it's so important. When you have that narrative, my God, you can change the world because you have the bad side of it. Like you look at Goebbels, you know, and what he did with Hitler. Hitler wouldn't have succeeded without Goebbels, without the
No,
narrative. And then you look at
it's
companies like Nike. Nike
Ethan.
wouldn't have succeeded without the
Ethan,
narrative.
it's so critical, and I'm gonna. This is not hindsight that we're having this conversation. This week, or this time last week, when something that I did speak at, which was at the ambassador's house, Israeli ambassador here, inviting me to speak to a group of people, and we spoke about narrative. And then I told her, and I only managed to just find it today or yesterday actually, that I wrote an email to the deputy ambassador who happened to from 7 years ago on this topic, about reclaiming narrative, about consistency in
Well, you know
language,
that's what
in
I'm
messaging,
all. That's
in
that's what I'm trying to do.
uniformity.
Yeah.
But this email was actually before I knew you,
Okay.
and I sent that email, and then I said to and the ambassador said, like, did you send it to the ambassador at the time was Mark Regev, and I said, didn't I send to his deputy
Love
because
Mark
she was
Regev.
sitting next to me, but I didn't know his job. Why didn't you send it to Mark? So I didn't know him well enough. I shook his hand twice. I had no remit, or platform to send it to him, but I sent it to her, and I can't find the email. And I dug out my old laptop from 7 years ago, still remembered the password, and found the email. And tomorrow morning, I have to send it to the ambassador. And it's exactly on your topic: consistency of narrative and messaging that's super clear, that no one veers from. It's from our politicians down to our spokespeople, to our ambassadors, to our advocates, to every one of us. We need that brand consistency, which I know is, I'm going to use your words, that brand consistency that we just repeat, 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 repeat. It's the only
And it
way.
needs to
It's
be based on, who you truly are, and who we truly are, despite what a lot of people think about us because of the propaganda. What we truly are is we have values that we live by. And what you say and what you do, and what you do and what you say, they need to be aligned. And then you're right. Then
has
you
to be
consistently
aligned.
stay true to your values. And that will happen in time. And shitting on people in the meantime isn't going to help. But listen, I think that this conversation has been great. I'm glad we did it. I want to actually take a moment also to thank all the people here, because when you
So many
post it, people will say
messages. Yeah.
so many hundreds of people have been writing, and thank you to everyone. And there's nothing special. I mean, Aaron Milan hated it when I said this, because I said there's nothing special about me and Aaron and all of us, because we're just ordinary people. Everyone has the power to make a change. Everyone has the
We-
power to make a change. You just got to speak up, and not
It's
just on social media.
it's
Speak up everywhere.
It's without question. At the event, they labeled me as the accidental influencer. And my first response when they asked me that question was, I'm not an influencer.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'm
the
not an
same as
influencer.
you. No,
Yeah,
just the same as you. Just, every one of you has the power to speak up. And it's not about liking. Actually, if you don't have your own creative spin on it, it's not about liking, and it's about sharing. It's about
it's
amplification.
about
We
being
need the
who you are,
amplification.
being who you are. If there's nothing to be ashamed of and you're a good person, being who you are openly, even though it's scary, because that is what we should be doing. So to everyone, thank you. Max, to you, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I and everyone, as some people are asking, will this? I think Max, because this is yours, you're going to post it and collaborate with me,
Yeah.
and then you guys will be able to see this conversation. And I hope that people say something in the comments. Nothing but love to everyone.
Love you,
Love
brother.
you too.
Miss you, and
Miss you
hopefully
too.
see you not very soon. Won't be too long before I'm
I
there.
hope so.
I will post it
All
up now.
right,
God
Baba. Take
bless.
it easy. Bye, everyone. Thank
I'm
you.
Israel Chai.
I'm Israel Chai.